Right.
What's up, guys? We're here. I mean, it's an exciting day. We've got a change into the guard, but I think nobody can intro this day better than our man, Steve Smith. So I'm going to let him intro what's going on right now and introduce everybody before we get going on this monumentous day in Alabama football.
Well, people, if you've been under a rock or sleeping, or I don't know what you've been doing, but ever since the news of Wednesday, Nick Saban announcing his retirement, we have all been on CSI Miami trying to figure out what is Greg Byrne going to do in terms of the new head football coach for Alabama that will take over and push us into the post-Nick Saban era. Well, for those of you who understand it now, it being Friday, we have a coach in negotiation talks right now. That being 49-year-old Kalen DeBoer, head coach of Washington. He's in conversations right now, negotiating with Nick Saban, Greg Byrne, Jimmy Sexton, the Godfather, every angel under heaven. Kalen DeBoer is having conversations with everybody, negotiating this contract. According to ESPN, Fox, the deal could be finalized very, very quickly here, very, very soon. But Kalen DeBoer is in the negotiation table. He's got the paperwork laid out there in front of him. This is a monumentous day as DeBoer looks to be the guy at this point that will usher Alabama Nation into the post-Nick Saban era. I'm yours truly, Stephen Smith, but forget me. We got this awesome panel right here. So right above me, we got my man Chris James in the building. Right above me, CJ2K, the real CJ2K. Chris James is right there. What's up, Chris?
What's up? The first 32, the original 32.
The original 32. Then right across from him, we got 32. The man that absolutely has no filter to know what he's talking about. We got Lucian is in here. Lucian, what's up, bro?
What's going on, Steven, man? It's an exciting day after a very, very, very sad day. So, I'm looking forward to getting into it. Let's go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Diagonal to Lucia, we got the real queen star in the building. Forget the Bay Hive. We got the Cici Hive.
Let's go.
Cici Payne is in here. Cici, what's happening?
How you doing, Steven?
We are rocking this here, and right above this, we got the man that's holding the controls instead of Justin Riley. We got the man Petty in here. Petty, what's going on, man?
Man, glad to be here. Glad to be here on this huge day, man. It's this day we didn't expect to be having, but
no,
we're here.
Y'all know what? Does it feel like the national championship was like Monday of this week? Like it literally feels like this week has been really long because all of the constant news, right?
It was Monday this week.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I thought
the 8th.
God,
I know, right? That's crazy.
It was last
right?
Monday. I literally thought it was last Monday.
It's been wild to think that you just played a national championship, but then the Nick Saban news just overtakes everything.
Yeah.
As Nick Saban known and Alabama known to overtake everything. Of course, where I was, I'm driving to get food when I got the news of Saban's retirement. But
you always driving to get food.
I mean, it is what it is. So now at this juncture, we had Nick Saban speaking with Chris Lowe of ESPN, Reese Davis also. We got the full lowdown of why Saban chose to retire. No, it was not for health reasons, but we got the real skinny as to why Nick Saban chose to make this move. However, he's not leaving the state. They got him an office above the stadium so he can still chew players out from that distance. And he's got the Godfather, Jimmy Sexton, working all of his contractual stuff out. So it's been a very, very interesting 24 to 48. Whoever got a clock out there, it's been a very interesting 24 to 28 hours.
Yes. It's been crazy, man. It's been crazy.
Yeah,
I'm just excited. I'm just ready for them to go ahead and
look. I'm ready ready for this blood test to end. Rip the IV out. Tell me who it is.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Well, I have a question though for all of you. So as we wait for the official announcement, how do you all feel about the interview that Coach Saban did with Reese Davis? Like, do you all feel like that answered maybe any questions you may have had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it answered a lot because, he talked about how he had to do more on defense this past year than what he's had to in the past. And I can understand where those hours catch up with you. They catch up with you. This new age of college football is so different. It is so different. When you look at Nick Saban, an old school guy, you're having to deal with trying to jump through hoops for these young kids. And, he's not trying to jump through hoops anymore. And I can understand that. So it answered a lot for me. I know Saban was trying all he could to keep himself from crying in front of Reese Davis, but it did answer a lot for me.
Real quick, man, speaking of legends, we got Bama Standard legend in the house, Jimmy Clay, dropping $25.
Jason!
Thank you, Jimmy.
Time to get to work. Roll, Tide, roll, says Jimmy.
Pimpin' Jimmy, baby. Pimpin' Jimmy.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Petty.
No, you go ahead, and I'll lead in our first question. I'm going to let everybody get your first thoughts out of the way because, man, it's still, look, we're excited about the new direction, obviously, with the new coach, DeBoer. We're going to talk all about what we think he can do for the program, recruiting, all that ins and outs. But let's be real, 17-year run of the GOAT, we still got some emotions to get out just a little bit. So, no, man, go with it.
Yeah, man, first off, I just want to say, man, I just want to thank Coach Saban just for changing, bringing us back, man, from the dead, man, because we were written off for dead. We were left for dead, man. When we were hitting probation, and then Coach Shula got fired, and then Rich Rod turned down the job. And everybody, we were the laughing stock of college football for a minute. And then everybody stopped laughing on I think it was January 3rd, 2007. I think that was the day. And the rest has been history since then. After that Louisiana Monroe loss, and then I think Mississippi State, or was it Mississippi State, Louisiana Monroe, whatever order it was over with after that. Then you just saw kind of saw an upward trend, and the rest has been history, man. And I just want to tell people, man, you just witnessed the greatest dynasty run in college football history. So it's time to temper, your expectations, man, because with them combining these conferences, we're a super conference now, adding Texas and Oklahoma. It's going to be two or three lost teams that will be getting into the playoffs now. So expecting Bama to be 12-0, 13-0 every year, I mean, you got to have it's competition out there, especially with Neal and these rosters balancing it out. The goal is to get in the playoff every year. Get in. That's the new expectation. It's 12 teams, get in the playoffs, and let the chips fall where they may. So, man, let's stick with Coach DeBoer, man. Let's support him, man, and not be so ready to give up the first sign of adversity, if there's any. But I think he's a doggone good coach, and I think we'll still be rolling. But let's just have realistic expectations.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. And with that, I'm going to go one more super chat from our guy, Jay Guy, $4.99. Great hire, but what happened to T-Rob? DeBoer must keep him. But I think we're going to get into that just a little bit, Jay Guy. We're going to get into what we think our new coach is going to do with the coaching staff, who he's going to retain, who he might bring with him. That's a great question that, hey, man, it's got to be on everybody's mind. It's the next question after you get someone. Hold on, and I got one more super chat coming up. Jamie Wilhelm, Sark is the jackass in this. We went after Bond. He went after Bond. Does anyone know if Saban has a title? Hearing GM player personnel.
Ooh. I think it's going to kind of be. I think Saban's going to kind of be the GM from upstairs in a sense. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. As far as Isaiah Bond, yes, he is visiting Texas this weekend, so that's just that right there. But going back to something that Chris mentioned, as long as you keep your hands on Caleb Downs and Justice Haynes, you will be perfectly fine there. Now, for me, I want to appreciate this from Coach Saban, just from my end, to be born during the final parts of Gene Stallings, to grow up in the DuBose, Franchione, Shula, and then to have a chance to cover Nick Saban entirely. I've been very blessed in this situation because Saban and I have had some of the funniest moments. I mean, Saban has poked fun at me. I've poked fun at him. There's been a lot of funny moments. Saban has looked at me and said, why did, I mean, there was a Knicks kid at the conference I was at, and I'll never forget this. I'm asking Nick Saban a question about football. He's like, can you ask me something about the kids? I'm like, Nick, I'm going to get to the kids, man. Right now, I'm trying to get this football question on. And so then I get to the facility, and so I sat there and asked him a question about the kids. He's like, oh, you tricked me. You didn't give me a football one. So it was just funny, kind of the relationship that even I was able to have with Coach Saban throughout my time covering this.
And man, and Stephen, in saying that, man, we all got to go along the special ride in different ways as fans, as players or whatnot, former players. But yeah, man, getting to be in that room where a lot of times that was one of the scariest rooms in college football.
Man, I'm not
after a football,
conference. Petty, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there were moments where I'm in the room and I'm not asking the ridiculous question, but somebody I know.
Uh-oh.
Get asked. I didn't ask the question, but somebody I did know asked the question, and I'm in the room with people getting stuff thrown at them. So I was in the room where a lot of those wars were taking place in those press conferences.
Oh, man. And we got one more super chat already from Don Parker, bringing in a little bit of money, $5, but throwing a little bit of cold water on this day already. Roll Tide, everyone. Just keeping it real and taking the wait and see approach. But I'm getting some Ray Perkin vibes from Ray Perkin vibes for some weird reason.
No.
I don't know, man. Well, that'll lead into our next question. After the legend, after the GOAT, the cock of the walk, whatever you want to call him, if this is indeed the hire, because I know we're still waiting on some final, T's and I's and all that stuff to be done. Is this the right hire for Alabama after the GOAT?
It's the home run hire.
I mean, to me, it speaks volumes for DeBoer to step into that position following someone like Coach Saban, like the same position that a lot of these coaches are, to me, almost afraid to step into those shoes, for him to take that on. And then for him, we have to remember that Washington was 4-8 just a couple years ago. I mean, they had a horrible, record, and then he turned things around. I think after that they were 11-2, and then of course this year 12-0. So I think that speaks volumes to what he brings to the program. It may look a little different than what we're used to, but to me that's not a bad thing. So I think he could very well carry that torch. And I agree with Beverly's comment here that the dynasty is not over. If anything, we're pivoting a little bit, but I don't think it's over.
Yeah. I just think that that it's just the fact that we needed a coach that can flat out coach at this point, not a recruiter, because you saw what happened with the last few Oregon coaches like Cristobal went to Miami. Those guys are recruiters, but you see what's happening with the results. We didn't need a recruiter. People were worried about Alabama recruits itself. You get what I'm saying? So we needed somebody that was gonna coach these guys up. They can flat out coach. And I think we got the best coach on the market. Just flat out football coach. I think we got the best one available. And that's what Bama needed. We needed a coach, not a recruiter.
Lou, you've been quiet, man. What you think?
I'm just waiting, if you get the official, but I like this guy. The more and more I look at him, he's got a winning record.
The official's in, guys. The official's in. It's in.
All right, yes. So we can talk.
The official's in, and what's crazy, guys? What's crazy? I broke it before Chris Lowe did.
Whoa! Uh-oh! Chris hadn't said it yet. So where'd you get the official, Stephen?
So Chris Lowe just put it out.
Dang! So it's a done deal. Alabama's got their man. The coach to follow up Nick Saban is Kalen DeBoer from Washington. Man, here we go. It's now Lou, you just said you were waiting on the official word. You have the official.
There you go.
Lou, give it to us, baby. Give it to us.
Sound excited. Sound excited.
All right, this is a great hire. This guy has faced adversity at every level and he has conquered it. So what better man to take on the mantelpiece in the mountain that is coming after the greatest coach in sports history? I'm going to say that the greatest coach. And before we dive into it, like I just got to say, you know what, Nick Saban, words cannot describe what you did for this program, this state. We are also undescribably thankful, including myself. And you know, this hire right now it means a lot for the program, because if you look at just what he's done with other players and how he's been able to help them along with their progression, that's what this university even needs right now in this game. Like everybody said, we don't need a recruiter. We need a guy that can coach. And I'm wow. This is great, guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy. I'm really happy.
Hey, Jimmy Clay out there making it rain like Mike Price, $17, 17 years with the GOAT. Been emotional, man. RTR. Yes. It kind of echoing what Lucian's saying, man. It's been special, man. It really is. If you saw that everybody's seen the Tom Rinaldi video where he's narrating it and got a little emotional. Everybody can admit it. All you men can admit. Y'all teared up a little bit with that, but yeah, man. So now we can ask, is this the right hire, Sishi?
I believe it is. I believe with where Alabama is in this present moment, it is the best. And I'm not even going to say it's the best that we could get, because I definitely think that DeBoer, he has really great qualities. Like I just mentioned, what he did to the Washington program in a very short period of time, to me, that speaks volumes. Now, technically, of course, they were in a different conference, Pac-12, and, you know, the dynamic there is a little different. But I think that he definitely has what it takes. And I think that, you know, with his qualities, I think he knows what to look for in terms of coordinators as well, because we still have to think about, okay, you have Tommy Rees there, but then, you know, are we going to get T-Rob in that defensive coordinator position? We really hope so. So I think that he's going to not only, you know, make the right choices in terms of the coaches, but from an offensive perspective, that's what we were pretty shaky this season. And I think that he's going to be a powerful impact to that as well.
And let me say something. People are mad that we hired this guy. I don't get it. Who you wanted Lanning, you wanted Sark. Guess what? This man is 5-0 against both of them, against the two of them combined.
In big games too.
Lanning twice. You know how hard it is to beat a good team twice in the same season? He beat Oregon twice in the same season. Then
with less talent.
With less talent. Then he beat the team that beat us early. He beat Texas twice. Last year in the bowl game and this year in the playoffs with less talent. And then his record speaks for itself. When he was at FCS, he won 3 natties. And then he came up to Fresno, turned them around. He turned the 4-8 Washington team around in 2 years, had a 4-8 Washington team playing for the national championship. Like, I mean, what more do you want? This is a football coach. You talking about, well, he can't recruit. Well, y'all, this is Alabama. Alabama recruits itself. When has Alabama ever lacked talent on the football field? Even during the probation-ridden years, we had talent. We had the Roman Harpers, the Charlie Peppers, the D'Amico Ryans come through here while we were on probation. Guys that played long years in decades in the NFL. Like, talent isn't. Guys are gonna come to Bama. This is Bama, man. Y'all gotta remember, it didn't just start with Nick Saban. Like we had 12 before Coach Saban ever coached it down.
And Coach Saban was a part of this hire process. I mean, he did say that he was going to be involved with whoever was selected. So, I mean, he signed off on this, you know?
Yeah. And has Greg Byrne let us down yet, y'all? Has he let us down? Y'all, some of the same people were mad when we hired Nate Oates.
Yeah.
And look, we were just the number 1 seed in the tournament last year, overall seed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, chill out. This man is the best AD in college sports for a reason, y'all. You got to trust the process.
Absolutely. Hey, got another super chat from Steve Owens, $10. Hopefully he can fix the offensive line. I'll let anybody want to address that. He's got a lot.
Lou with the big uglies.
Now listen, I mean, his team won the Joe Moore Award, I'm pretty sure, right?
Mm-hmm. That was Michigan.
That was Michigan?
I thought Michigan won the previous 2 years and Washington won it this year.
Yeah. Washington won it this year, Steven.
Okay.
And Michigan won it the last 2 years.
So, I mean, that goes to something. Got to say something. I mean, he at least knows how to put people in place to coach the big uglies. So, at all levels, because you're not successful unless you got a good offensive line. And the man's track record says success. So, you got to know a thing or two about the offensive line. I haven't dove into it completely yet, but from what I'm reading.
I will say this. He gonna need to part ways from Eric Wolford. Part these ways from Wolford.
Boy, it was ugly, wasn't it? Wasn't it ugly? Boy,
Chris, it wasn't ugly. It was ugly.
Well, that leads into that segs right into our next question. What effect does this have on, say, Isaiah Bond's decision or other current players that you may want to see go or we want to see stay?
I'll say this. I think this helps get Ryan Williams back on board as a commitment. I think that helps that. Isaiah Bond, it could, but if he already had the mentality of wanting to leave even before Saban announced the retirement, there's not much you can do about Isaiah.
Yeah.
Don't I'm not gonna say it, but
just say it. Just say it.
Just a locker room mentality. Some of those you can just tell from body language, guys not getting the ball, that type of thing. Like attitudes, man. Like that's the last thing we need right now. Like guys worried about Neil and worried about who gonna get me the ball. If you do what the heck you're supposed to do, everything is gonna take care of itself. Be a team player. That's what we need right now.
Well,
I'm not worried about nobody hopping in the portal before you
exactly.
Even announce the coach.
But and it's like it makes you go back to the drawing board and just ask, well, what was your reason for coming to Alabama in the first place? Was it just because Coach Saban is there? Coach, he's not, and I can only imagine the level of pressure. See, that's why, because going into retirement, that's a decision that you make well in advance. So I'm pretty sure even before the season started, Coach Saban had an inkling. He knew that it was possibly coming, but I believe that the reason why he kept quiet is because of behavior like this, where he knew that for one, it would put a lot of pressure on the players to almost play up to keep him in a sense, but at the same time it's just like it's almost like people make Coach Saban their god in a sense, you know what I'm saying? It's like you don't choose where you're going to go for school because it's still a business just based off of that one man. I mean, he was already a little older anyway when Isaiah Bond and his class got here, so it's like you knew that was coming sometime down the pipeline. So I don't know, I think it speaks volumes though, and it's really upsetting. I mean, you look at the three who just transferred to Florida State from Alabama. I think Malik Benson, Earl Little Jr., and then Terrence Ferguson, and then out of nowhere we hear about Florida State and the violations that they incurred. So now to me that's something that's why you shouldn't be so quick to just act off of emotion. You feel me? Because these are life changes, you know.
Exactly. And Luke,
and that kind, you named several guys that Jamie Wilhelm in Super Chat just dropped $4.99. Who is left to be at wide receiver? Burton, Benson, Bond gone. If Bond,
too many people.
There you go.
Too many people.
Man, look.
Make them feel good, guys. Make them feel good.
Kendrick
Law, Emmanuel Henderson Jr. I mean, it's Jalen Hill. I mean,
Jalen Hill, Cole Adams. And y'all gonna learn about those two freshmen coming in. Rico Scott and Amari Jefferson.
Right. Yeah, those two as well. Yeah.
I'm saying this. That boy Rico. The last time we got a boy from Pennsylvania was Robert Foster. That boy
Rico Scott is a bad dude. Deal.
That boy
Rico. We haven't even seen Kendrick Law yet. Kendrick Law has yet to even grace his presence yet. I'm telling you guys, in this
you got guys like Cole Hamilton, Cole Adams, and
Jalen Hill,
and Hamilton, and Henderson, and Prentice,
and you can't even forget about the tight ends we have that are about to get just absolutely exposure.
Wait till they
exactly.
Amari Black. Oh my,
Black. You know, CJ Dupree. I mean, I'm assuming
Robbie Oots.
Robbie Oots. Then you got the two coming in, Jay Lindsey and Caleb Odom.
You got Caleb Odom coming in.
Hey, did y'all see how that tight end was eating up Michigan from Washington?
Yeah.
And now you got Caleb Odom.
Odom's a man, isn't it, Chris?
Odom, he's gonna be that guy.
A dude.
I think this answered your question, Jamie. I think we're gonna be all right at receiver.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
Hey, and then basically, I'm gonna say this right now. This really helps bolster us getting Ryan Williams. Because whoever our next wide receiver coach is going to be a splash. And then, especially with the exit of Bond, Ryan Williams could have an immediate impact.
It's going to be the guy from Washington, man. It's going to be him. And he just had three nasty receivers. And
two over a century.
One of them is top 10 draft pick. Onduze. Yeah. He's a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, I'm not told it's over for Williams either.
No, man.
So with that said, Stephen, any other names that Bama Nation needs to really be on the lookout for that may be exiting with this new regime coming in, or that they really need to go to work on immediately once they get here?
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna say. So the guys that you need to retain on the coaching staff, you got to retain T-Rob. You got to retain.
Number one.
Absolutely.
That's number one. Number two, you got to retain Robert Gillespie. Really good recruiter, really good running back coach. You got to retain him. Number three, the question becomes, what do you do with Tommy Reese? Right?
Yeah.
if you bring Grubb to be the OC with DeBoer, does this make Reese out the door? Does this have Reese as a quarterbacks coach? What do you do with Tommy Reese?
Hey, you could take away a defensive position and that extra assistant that they got, like last year, was it 22 when they added that extra on-field assistant? Was it 21, 22?
Yeah.
You can take that from the defensive side of the ball because you got to remember Kevin Steele didn't coach a position last year. He was a DC. So if T-Rob is the DC, you can just let him stay with the secondary and get that extra position and take that to the offensive side of the ball and just have a quarterback coach and an offensive coordinator. Let Grubbs run the offense and let Tommy Reese coach the quarterbacks.
I have a question though. What good does that? What good does that really do? If we're gonna have a quarterback coach, I'd rather take the guy that just produced Michael Penix as the quarterback coach, guys.
Well, no, it's
he is the quarterback coach at Washington.
Well, Penix was the man at Indiana, so he was already polished when he got to Washington. So it wasn't like they just made Penix. Penix was who he was before he played it down at Washington. When he was at Indiana, he was a dog. He was giving Michigan, Penn State, Ohio. He was giving all them fits in the Big Ten. What you do, what that allows is for for Grubbs to focus on the whole offense. It allows him to focus on the whole offense and let Reese, be your primary position coach, doing drills and everything, blah, 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 while the Grubbs kind of floats around doing practice and individual drills. You know what I'm saying? Or can attack. If he wants to do something with the O-line that day, or if he wants to do something with receivers, he can move around without having to worry about, okay, I got this I have the quarterbacks right here. Like when you're the coordinator, like that's what made our defense better. Steele was able to float around. You get what I'm saying? And when you have somebody that's able to float around like that, you can just coach. You can just coach the whole offense because it's going to be, his offense. So he may want the receivers to run the route this particular way, or he may want the O-line to block it this particular way. And he doesn't have to take time out of working with the quarterbacks to go coach that up. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So it just it frees them up. It frees Grubbs up basically.
Let me call out a couple super chats before we get going because you on a heater and I don't want to cut it off, but we got several that have popped out and I don't want to miss them. I think Don had a super chat, $2, said, "You're the man, Steve." I guess if he'd have been the lady, it'd have been a little more money. Davis Lewis Love, seeing that, man, you're going to give acronyms to a Mississippi boy. Coach Nick Saban will be giving Coach DeBoer his recruiting philosophy and contacts and introducing him to those contacts, also the skills of each player on the roster. Coach Saban being there, man, we're going to get into that. What kind of impact will that have with a new coach coming in? Is it a good thing or could it be, new coach might want to run his thing? I think that brings up a good question. We got a few more. Let me find them.
But another thing is,
go ahead.
Reese could be up for some head coaching jobs, on a lower level.
Elliot Patillo, how does Coach DeBoer $5? How does Coach DeBoer work with tight ends? You were touching on that a minute ago, weren't you, Chris? What you saw
Westover in the championship game, he was nice, man. Wasn't it Westover or Jack Westover, wherever his name was? And the dude had a good game. He was getting open, man. And he focuses on the tight ends also, and we still
have Joe Cox too.
Yes,
right? We'll still have Joe Cox, and we definitely need to keep him.
To stay. Don't let him go back to Georgia. Keep him.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Caddell is trying to get in here, but his service is apparently $19.95 bad right now. So. We got one more from Joe Jones, $4.99. Our QB needs to go to a QB coach camps that they do in the off season. Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, CC, what we talked about, Lou, right before this, we said, man, Milroe's gonna have to get it together. Cause
with Julian Sand and Ty Simpson's still gonna be there. Dylan Lonergan.
They're gunslingers, so he better do some work.
He better get it together, man. He better get in that lab.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Saban is gonna. I don't think DeBoer is gonna give him as much time as he had last year with Coach Saban. But
he'll have an idea after spring.
Yeah,
Reaver Reap, DeBoer, and Saban in the same building. There's a lot to be excited about from a sheer football IQ power standpoint. Again, that goes back. So we've had several super chats talk about that. I guess we can touch on it. What are y'all's thoughts on Saban being in the building with that kind of transition? Is that a good thing for a new coach, or does a new coach kind of want to come in and do his own thing?
I personally think, and this kind of ties into the interview that Coach Saban did with Reese Davis, where, to me, it just upped my level of respect even more for Coach Saban, because that vulnerability that he had, where he, literally sat there and explained how he's not, the man he was 10 to 15 years ago that we were so used to. To me, what this does, him retiring, but still having basically an office in the stadium, it removes some of that responsibility where he's not having to, do all the travel. He'll probably still travel with, I don't know. But to me, it removes some of that responsibility, but he's still going to have a voice. And I think he's going to have, especially this first year, I think that he's going to have a strong impact to where the players, I don't think they're going to feel too much missing per se, but I think that DeBoer is going to appreciate him being there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lou?
I don't know if Lou heard us on that one.
You there, Lou?
Yeah, what's up?
It's on you. Ask me the question again, Petty.
So what do you think about Saban's impact being in there with DeBoer? Is that going to be a positive, a good transition for a new coach, or do you see that could that be a distraction for a new guy wanting to kind of put his print on the program?
No, I think that's really good. I mean, anybody that has had the GOAT around him, I mean, that's just knowledge. That's just a sponge he needs to just soak up off of. I mean, just especially on the defensive side of football, because we already know this guy's going to bring a wealth of offensive knowledge. But I mean, let's face it, you have the best defensive mind in football, so that's going to be just basically an encyclopedia for him to just access at any time, especially if he's going to have an office in the football facility. That's just great. I think it's just going to mean great things for Alabama.
Yeah, and another thing is, like, they're on different sides of the ball, so it's not going to be a clash in philosophy or nothing, because Saban's a defensive guy, and when they're coming in scoring points like that, it's like,
well, that brings us. Well, no, that's great. That brings us to Don Parker's next super chat for $5. Any thoughts on the defensive coordinator? You say there are different philosophies. Washington did not have a great defense, and it showed in the championship game. So is that where Saban has his effect?
T-Rob or bust?
T-Rob or bust, man. That's that. What's the word in the? That's what we're hearing around the player circle, Chris.
T-Rob or bust.
T-Rob or bust.
T-Rob will keep the guys on defense there. You notice you haven't seen guys on the defensive side hitting the portal like that, have you?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I
agree.
T-Rob got it on lock, man.
Yeah.
T-Rob or bust.
Any thoughts?
For me?
Yeah, either one. Any thoughts on what we do defense coordinator wise? Like you said,
T-Rob. I mean, I don't know who else you go after. I mean, with Kevin still leave. See, the thing with Jeremy Pruitt, and I would love for us to have him back, but with the violations and, essentially to me, the sanctions that they put on him, it wouldn't even, that first year, it's not going to even matter. Now, I will say, though, now we could be strategic. If by chance they don't want to give, T-Rob that DC position, we could possibly slide Jeremy Pruitt in there, but I would put him as more of an analyst. So that first year of that, quote unquote, probation of that 6-year period, that goes away, and then he'll be able to slide in there next year. So I'm not sure if they want to have him in there as like another voice. And then you have Coach Saban as well in the background. But to me, the safest bet where you can just go ahead and start day one would be T-Rob.
I don't think it makes sense to bring Pruitt in.
You lose T-Rob, you lose half the locker room.
Exactly. You're going to lose more than half the locker room. Because, I mean, you got to think that he recruited half of these offensive players, too. So,
But the thing about Pruitt, go ahead.
No, we got another $5 super chat. Dave, huh? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right, David Lewis Love, $5. Some guys leaving is not a bad thing. The guys that stay want to be here, and you won't have cancers in the locker room. It will be very competitive, and that's something you guys talk about a lot in our group chats. Is about that. Y'all talking about that today when Bond hit the portal. Look, man, there is a standard at Alabama, and if you don't want to be a part of it, we'll move on to the next guy. It's not a problem of getting star players that want to come play and be a part of Alabama. So,
I mean, how do they think the dynasty was created in the first place? It was created by players who were actually committed, and it makes me question to what degree are they committed, It's really sad to see, hopefully, I don't know if Bond is kind of testing waters with, Sarkisian and whatever, the oil money out there in Texas, but it just makes me question what level of commitment they really had to begin with.
Yeah. And the thing about it, man, like T-Rob just bought in 8 guys on the defensive backfield. We lose him, man. Ain't no telling what they'll do. You get what I'm saying? So you definitely want to have that continuity. And even if you bring Pruitt in, and that means that you're gonna have one less. It depends on if Pruitt was the coach of the inside backers or considering Bala, because Bala has been in talks about Georgia Tech. They've been talking about that. But even if you bring Pruitt in, it depends on where Pruitt will coach, because if he's in the secondary and we keep Bala, keep the staff intact, that means we won't be able to keep Reese if Grubbs comes. That means you'll have one less position on the offensive side of the ball. So and then again, like Pruitt has to be like what they were saying about him being cleared. I think it's kind of a process with Pruitt. You probably won't see JP for at least another year or two. But right now, man, T-Rob, he had South Carolina booming a few years ago on defense. So it's not like he doesn't have the experience. The guy is due.
Like, remember what we were talking about the other night when we said that he was Lane Kiffin called him out for calling the defense against him. Like, he has an ability to stop high-powered offenses too, which that right now is the college football game. And I think especially watching the national title and the Washington coach actually being in the national title, he's not going to do anything but retain T-Rob, especially with how he has all these young guys successfully playing. Think about all the young guys that are in top important defensive positions on our team this year. Yeah, we're losing a lot of first round top talent, but the guys that we have returning, the freshmen and the sophomores, T-Rob had a hand in a lot of that. He's been around with these guys. He's got a rapport with them. So it's got to be T-Rob. And he's already got a hold in recruiting. And with him being the defensive coordinator, that's just going to help him step up in recruiting. So I think it's a no-brainer. It's got to be T-Rob.
I agree. And you made a good point calling out the game where Saban made where Kiffin noticed in the Ole Miss game that, man, that didn't look like Steele. That looked like T-Rob calling those plays. And he said it because it shut his dang offense down. And that's, let's be real. We all know Kiffin's got one of the best offenses in college football, and it was absolutely shut down that day in Bryant Denny. Robert Hell coming with $4.99. Remember the Bear years were after Bear. We wanted a Bama Bear man in our hiring. We finally got Saban. Saban Highway, and Saban Highway was neither. It was the Bama standard. Saban did create the Bama standard. And that's one thing, man, as a fan and looking back at history, you were kind of curious about. Does Bama repeat what they did when they finally said enough is enough and went and got Nick Saban, which was the best guy for the job, not the guy that fit the Bama mold, the guy that came from the Bear Tree or whatever. He was the best football coach. Well, there was a lot of people that wanted Sark. There was a lot of people that wanted Kiffin. There was a lot of Dan Lanning. And every one of those guys comes out of the Saban tree. DeBoer doesn't. So, hey, man, did we not repeat history this time and get it right out of the gate by going for the best guy? Man, it feels like we did. I love, like you said, do it. He's a winner everywhere he's been. He's posted a 104-17 record. He was 5 years in NAIA. He was coach of the year 3 of those 5 years, won titles 3 of those 5 years. He's had a winning record every year except one. He was 500, 3-3 in the COVID year when he stepped into an 0-11 Fresno State program and immediately turned them into a winner, went 3-3 and then won the next year. And then he goes on to Washington State. He's been coach of the year in the Pac-12 both years, and now he's the national coach of the year. He's 49 years old. I mean, the guy's a pedigree of winning. And again, he wasn't just the next Saban guy. It seems like he might have been the next guy.
Yep, I agree. And I think with Coach Saban still being in the stadium and still having some level of influence, I think that, DeBoer, he can definitely benefit from that. Almost like a mentor-mentee type of situation. Who knows what's going to happen to Tommy Rees. I think that a lot of us probably share the same sentiment there, but do we give up on Tommy Rees altogether? He only had 1 year at Bama. I don't know, but I do think that DeBoer, he was definitely, out of all the names that were put out there, and considering who we kind of figured wouldn't leave, I mean, that was probably the better choice.
Yeah, but look, man,
I appreciate the $2 in the dumb comment, Brian. Appreciate the support. Harbaugh really ended Saban. Michigan whooped him. Okay.
Well, no, but the thing is, these Michigan fans, they're actually upset that Coach Saban leaving, just retiring, that took all the shine away from them. So they only had basically 48 hours to celebrate their, win or whatever. But that was pretty much it. Everyone's forgotten about that.
Yeah. See that? Yeah, I hate to break it to you, buddy. Nobody even remembers y'all played Monday. It's all about Alabama right now.
We literally forgot.
Yeah, everybody.
Wait, there was a game on Monday?
I think so. There was a scrimmage. Somebody put it on.
I didn't know there was a game on Monday.
I think it was on the Nickelodeon channel.
Nick at night.
Any good players we can possibly get from Washington? Draco Malfoy, give him $199. That's probably not your name. Sorry if it's Draco, however you say it.
Well, seeing that our receivers are hitting the portal.
Their center?
Seeing that
the center, yeah. We could, yeah.
Hey, seeing that our receivers are hitting the portal, maybe one of them.
I mean, Chris, we got stockpile receivers though.
I know. I'm just joking, man.
Jackson Date. Oh, go ahead. I
want to see Emmanuel Henderson go off this year.
Ooh. But like I said, man, I think y'all answered old boy's question earlier. Receiver's not going to be an issue. We got players there. Jackson Davis dropping $10 super chat. Offense feels same as when Tua jumped Jalen. I didn't finish reading it. All right, I'll just read it. Hal Lax, I guess that's on a timer. Either Justin's messing with it. Was able to keep all those receivers happy so that the next year they all went off. Hopefully DeBoer can do the same. All right. Yeah, it was kind of the theme of what we've been talking about. I expect some offense out of DeBoer. I expect these receivers to kind of feast. I'll be interested, like I say, to see what, does this bring Williams back into the fold? And with that question, Bo Scarborough mentioned it on the show the other night when we were talking about Saban retiring. When Lanning was brought up and DeBoer was brought up, Bo was like, no, man, we can't bring a guy from the Northeast down to recruit in the Southeast. We saw Brian Harsin go to Auburn and completely bottom out, even though he was coming from Boise State. It's probably not the same. We're probably comparing apples to oranges there as far as the coaches.
Going to Auburn and going to Bama, two different things.
So but bringing a guy from the North, never recruited in the South, how do we expect? How's he going to handle recruiting? Can he handle recruiting? Can he get in the rigors of, man, we know what recruiting's like in the dirty South.
Right, exactly. And really quickly, Petty, because that's a really great question. Before we answer that, I do want to quickly, while our viewers are here, and we love that you all are engaging in the live chat, I do want to mention that we are having our Nick Saban tribute show, as you see at the bottom of the screen, this coming Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bama Standard Network. So that's right here on YouTube. We'll have some of your favorite former players, Courtney Upshaw, touch that thing, DJ Fluker, Reggie Ragland, Trent Richardson, and Slade Bolden. So we have some of y'all's favorite former players that'll be on, so be sure to catch it.
Yes, thank you, CC. They've been trying to get me backstage to promote that. I'm getting hammered on the side. Yeah, CC just did it. She took care of it. Nick Saban tribute show tomorrow night. Our next Tuesday. Don't miss that, man. Good gracious. That's a who's who of, that's every guy you fell in love with out of the gate, wasn't it? That kind of all made us fall in love in the Saban era. Not all of them, but man, that's some of the Mount Rushmore names. So do not miss next Tuesday night. It's going to be a special show with a lot of former Saban guys. I can only imagine you're going to get the stories are going to be priceless from that, because now guys can really tell stories, kind of like Bo did the other night with the getting pulled over coming out of the golf tournament. So
going 90 down the highway.
going 90 down the highway. We are not pulling over.
That is funny, man. That is funny.
If you love Alabama, you love story like the in-depth stories, the behind the scenes. That's going to be a night you're not going to want to miss. Man, shoot. We were starting to get into recruiting though. I don't know where we kind of got sidetracked with that. How do you think? How does? You said good question. You were answering it, and things kind of got quite crazy. Recruiting in the South is a different animal, or it used to be. You used to have to know mama. You used to have to know mama. You used to have to go dance on the carpet. You used to have to get it done in the South. Then you had to get a little dirty. There was some backbiting and all that stuff. The South has always been a different animal, and we have seen coaches sometimes that aren't used to the rigors and the insides that is Southeastern recruiting kind of get eaten up. I know I mentioned Brian Harsin. It is a new era of recruiting, though, with NIL, transfer portal. How do we feel DeBoer can do in a new surrounding, a new area recruiting?
You want to start it off, Chris?
Hey. Where did Saban come from before he came to LSU? Went to LSU.
He's Ohio boy.
Michigan State.
If you know football, you know football. And especially in the day of NIL, it doesn't really matter. I mean, having Southern contacts, yeah, that does help, and that will always help. But we have a Southern contact in T-Rob. Not everybody's got to have a footprint. And I think, you know what sells better than anything? Winning. And that's what this dude does.
Yeah. I think too, because another dynamic that we have to consider as well is the fact that, we have the conferences, they're changing. So we have Texas and Oklahoma coming in, the playoff expansion. So there are a lot of different dynamics that play into that. I think the amount of attention that was surrounding, Coach Saban retiring this week and just all that attention, who's going to be the new coach, and the fact that in this same week, that's why we pointed out the national championship just, that happened just this Monday, all in this same week. You have the team that unfortunately lost to Michigan, Washington, you have their head coach essentially replacing Coach Saban. And I think with the amount of, attention and hype that's been around Coach Saban's retirement, I think that in itself will attract, certain guys, especially offensively, because we have to remember, like we've been saying, how good DeBoer is in terms of offense and that he likes to win. When we had the Tuas of the world, the Bryce of the world, we had the Kiffins and the Sarkisians, offensively, we would literally run those points up, and to the point where the defense would, it would almost be an offensive defensive battle. So I think on the defensive side, T-Rob, we, give him that DC position, let him continue to go out there on the recruiting trail. But then I think with DeBoer, and that's where Coach Saban's still having a seat at the table. I think that, that this offseason is going to be really important for DeBoer to kind of get his, his goal, what his plan of action, his objectives, get that out there to get these new guys for the 2024, if there is anyone else out there to get, but particularly 2025 class. So I don't think we'll have any issues there.
I think it comes down, look, I'm glad I wanted to touch base on it because I feel like, I guess 10 years ago, this question mattered. It doesn't now. With NIL and portal, it doesn't matter. It matters, the Bama standard has been created over 17 years. Again, I mentioned this the other night. He created it in just a few years so good at LSU that a mouth-breathing moron that ate grass won a national title. He's been doing it for 2 decades at Alabama. You see Alabama sweatshirts from Miami to San Francisco. The Bama standard isn't just a thing we talk about. It's something you see across the country. That label's out there. All he's got to do is win and keep it going.
Look, when I travel to the islands, they recognize my Alabama stuff. They're like, "Oh, you went to that? Is that big? Parents everywhere. They know it."
I didn't have on Bama stuff, and I was in the Bahamas on a cruise, and we were in there, and there was we were talking. They said, "Oh, you're from this." They heard my accent from the South. They're like, "Oh, you like Alabama?" It was like that. There was one choice. There's Alabama, and that's just who they are. So, I do think he can come in this environment. It may have been different 10 years ago, but with NIL, as long as the fan base is active and giving and doing what this new era is all about, his name brand's going to sell itself. You win, it's going to take care of business. I believe. I don't see much.
Man.
Lou?
Are we answering the question, or what are we doing?
Oh, you got it. My bad. I thought you. So I'm going through. No. Man, Y'all got me juggling all these super chats. We got Alan Ernest with 99 cents.
That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to make sure.
Reggie, $9.99 super sticker.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Appreciate it, y'all.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you. Hey, everybody that's in this. Thank you guys. Thanks for being a part. This is again, man, a monumental day in Alabama sports. We're coming off the era of the greatest dynasty in college football, and now this is the day we turn the page. This is the day that we look to see what's next, what's new. Kalen DeBoer on his way, proven winner. I mean, exciting times. Appreciate it. Jesse Howell, 199. David Cabin is the next Cedric. Okay. What next? Wait, there's next Cedric.
Yeah.
Whoa, where's Cedric going?
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Man, he might be the next Cedric.
Man, Cedric is timeless.
Yeah, like what's he's going to be? Cedric?
I think he might be talking about
Cedric the entertainer.
the entertainer. Like Pat Williams was talking about.
I think I know Dave. Dave is tight end from ACA, right? Maybe.
That's what he played with me at Bama. We played together.
Did he? Was it that era? I thought that was around our age. Is he going to be the next?
Yeah, we're 2000. We came in the same class. Yeah, we came in the same class in 2000. He was good. He was good. He was really good.
Antoine Weston, the guys in the YouTube chat is tripping. I'm excited. He's going to make Milroe a Penix 5.0, and the wide receivers like Smith, Judy, and company. The tight ends will get the ball. Hey, man, what is Jalen Milroe?
I pray. I hope so. I'm just being realist, man. Like,
I agree with some of what he said.
Yeah, I agree. Like, let me tell you, I played the quarterback position, man. It's just like baseball, like a pitcher in baseball. Either you got it or you don't. Yeah. Like, becoming a passer, you understand how hard it was to develop Jalen Hurts into a pure passer. He still has a ways to go. You know what I'm saying? Like guys like Lonergan, Sayin, Ty Simpson, those guys are pure accurate. They like passing is all about timing, anticipation, reading the defense, and it's like either you got it or you don't. Miro is like out of all the quarterbacks on the roster, he's lacking the most in that department compared to the others.
But Chris, question: would we say that it's all Jalen Milroe and maybe certain areas that he needs to work on, or would we also say that a part of it has been Tommy Rees almost trying to get Jalen to fit a certain mold or play a certain way to where he wasn't really leveraging Jalen Milroe's skill set?
I think
so. You think it's more Jalen?
Hang tight, because this rain has my Wi-Fi tripping. This storm that's coming through.
We can hear you okay though. We can hear you.
Can you repeat that?
Maybe we're freezing up for him.
It's calm down, man. I can't hear nothing.
Oh, is it? She was just saying, do we feel like it was Tommy kind of his calls not working to Milroe's skill set? Can you not hear us?
Still can't hear us. What do you think, Lucian? Do you think that it was more Jalen or
no? Because too many times, if you break down the film, Tommy Rees is not telling Jalen just to keep his eyes downfield and miss check down receivers. Yeah. He wasn't telling Tommy Rees in his ear not to check on blitzes. Like at some point, like you got to realize these are not like all the way kids. At some point, you got to let these kids off the reins and be their own player. And maybe he ain't it. That's why this is University of Alabama. That's why there's competition. We don't have to worry about necessarily Jalen Milroe having to come back because we have other options that have been in the system, that know the system, that can thrive. So that's why it shouldn't be that big of a worry for Alabama Nation right now.
I'm sorry. Answer your question again, CC. Now I can hear you now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when you were just basically discussing, I guess like the passing quarterbacks, so we have Lonergan, Ty Simpson, and then Julian Sand coming in, which I think Julian is going to appreciate this hire, more than anyone when you really think about it. But I was asking when you were talking about Jalen Milroe, I was wondering, do we feel like some of the hiccups that we saw from Jalen throughout the season was more so his abilities or lack thereof, or do we think a part of it had to do with Tommy Rees almost trying to get him to fit a certain mold or get him to play how he wanted him to play versus leveraging, Jalen's skill set?
Both. And that was the problem with Bill O'Brien last year. That's why he looked kind of rough against A&M when he had to start for Bryce last year in the A&M game. because Bill O'Brien was trying to get him to do things that wasn't him, that wasn't in his skill set. He's, like I said, he's built a lot like Jalen Hurts or whatnot, and but he has a long ways to go as far as becoming he can throw the deep ball. It's more than just being able to throw the deep ball. It's all about anticipation. You have to be an anticipation passer. Like, that's why Dylan Lonergan did so well in camp. Like, and all throughout the season, because he's an anticipation passer, and that means like being able to throw a ball to a spot to see what's happening before it happens, knowing what the receiver's going to be, as opposed to react. Like, it seemed like Miro was a reactionary passer, as opposed to a rhythm passer. Like a guy like Julian Saban, he's a rhythm passer. Like a
facilitator.
Like, I would say this: Julian Saban, y'all can mark me down. Today's date, January the 12th, 2024. Julian Saban, if he stays at Bama, he will win a Heisman Trophy before.
I think he's the next Bryce. And to your question, Cici, I think the Milroe thing was tough this year because there's the emotional aspect. You fell in love with the kid. He's a likable guy. He fought. He's a winner. He obviously won his teammates over. But on the flip side, we're Bama fans, man. There's we're called the Bama standard. That Bama standard was Jalen Hurts, who was amazing, who lost his job to Tua, who was even more amazing and one of the best. And then we go to Mac, and then you go to Bryce, who may be the best quarterback in Alabama history. And the unfortunate is you've set a bar, and as much as you fell in love with Milroe and liked the guy, there was just the plays that Bryce Young, look, as bad as Seth was, and like there was problems at center, there was bad snaps. He was the center the year before and made a lot of those bad low snaps. But Bryce was able, with his athletic ability, able to keep his eyes down the field, able to field a lot of them and fix the plays. And again, that's not giving Seth a pass, but it's also saying, hey, you got to be able to make some plays that are a little above the bar at Alabama. And as much as I love him, and again, that's where I think we'll learn with DeBoer. It's going to be an open competition. He's got a quarterback room. And if Jalen's the best guy, he's got a chance, man. He still can be the man at Alabama, still be the man in the Heisman and trophy. He's just got to come in with this new coach, and we'll see. If it's open competition, if he earns it, he earns it. He's the man.
And let me tell you, he he's too dynamic to have on the sideline. So you have to have some type of package for him. Even if he isn't a starter. You get what I'm saying? He's just too dynamic. So especially if you're going to have a freshman like Julian Saban, a true freshman coming in playing, or a young redshirt freshman and Dylan Lonergan playing, or even a young guy in Ty Simpson. You get what I'm saying? Like, you definitely want to have a small, kind of like Michigan did with what's the guy's name? The backup.
Was it Orgy?
Or something like like him. But you let Miro throw it a little bit, but kind of like, I guess, like how Jalen Hurts did, like in 2018 with Tua, they brought Hurts in sometimes. You still play the guy because he's too dynamic to keep out on the sideline. But however, to make this offense go to its full potential, it's gonna have to be somebody that can spin it, man. Like Penix was pinpoint accurate. You hear me? Like that guy may have been probably the most accurate quarterback in college football this year.
Yeah.
Like as far as dropping dimes. So whoever.
But the question though, Chris, does that translate over to the SEC? Would he have been that accurate in the SEC?
Man, Penix would have been accurate anywhere he's gone. He's gonna be. Wait till he goes to the NFL. Yeah. It's like Michigan had a generational defense because they had a whole bunch of 24 and 25-year-olds that should have been like on the second NFL contract playing. Just being real, all those super seniors they had.
They had a team full of Stetson Bennett's. Let's face it.
Right. like seriously, playing against 18 and 19-year-old kids. You're 24.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Playing against 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, and you're supposed to be on your second NFL contract. Half of those guys went to school, came out with Justin Herbert. Like, being real. So
yeah.
Half them dudes got kids being recruited by Bama right now. Let's face it.
You know what I'm saying? So like, don't let the Michigan game discourage you, because that was a all-time great defense that they had.
Yeah.
They didn't allow 25
No. It definitely didn't discourage me, because honestly, we could have and we should have beat them. But it just makes me wonder when we talk about these different conferences and the strengths of the conferences. So the Pac-12, where they're known for their high-powered offense, it just makes you wonder how easily translatable is that over to a conference like the SEC.
Well, Texas had an SEC defense this year,
and he
threw for 400 on Texas,
and they beat Texas the year before in the bowl game
and gave up
2-0 against Stark.
0 sacks. So you give Penix a clean pocket, he's going to deliver.
Don Parker dropping another $2. Every position is open for competition. Good. And hey, of course it's good. That's what made Bama great, right?
Except for strong safety.
Except for one. Lucy meant like, well, there's one boy that got
Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs is not, he just ain't going to let anybody off the mountain. Bryson B, $5. Milrose Shine, gunslinger. He's young. He's the most talented QB in the room. Just needs taught on eye discipline to look for the easy passes. RTR.
Yeah,
but look, again, go ahead. I'm gonna let you take that.
No, you take. I'm after you.
We'll see.
No.
We'll see. He's the most athletic, the fastest. Yeah. I'm not. The eye discipline isn't the thing, man. He stares at, when eye discipline ain't a problem when you're staring down linebackers coming to blitz and you don't ever change out of the play, or you can only look at, I don't know, man. That's a tough thing to teach. Some things you got,
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Go for it, Chris.
I wouldn't say a gun. I wouldn't call him a gunslinger. Ty Simpson is a gunslinger. Like a gunslinger is Brett Favre. You think gunslinger? You think Brett Favre? Ty Simpson, you think Aaron Rodgers? Those are gunslingers. Milroe isn't a gunslinger. Milroe was pretty much a Lamar Jackson before Lamar refined his passing. Like his ceiling is like if Milroe ever meets like his potential, like just becomes a student of the game for these next 2 years and just really studies and get to the league and get with the right team, his ceiling is a Lamar Jackson. That's his ceiling. You get what I'm saying? Or Jalen Hurts. Like that's. I would go as far to say he's a better passer than Jalen Hurts was at this time, because you got to understand Jalen Hurts didn't become a refined passer until Dan Enos got there. The year he sat behind Tua was the best thing that ever happened to Jalen Hurts, because his passing actually took off by him sitting down and learning. And maybe that may be what it'll take for Milroe. So,
Luke. You look like you're deep and ready to bust out thought.
I mean, hey, I'm with Chris. He's not a gunslinger. Like, to me, a gunslinger is like someone that's just like decisive at being a distributor. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to be a decisive distributor, that you have to actually distribute the football. That does not mean holding on to the football. That does not mean falling in love with certain wide receivers and certain packages. That also doesn't mean, like, when you hear the word gunslinger, that's not really something you call somebody that's been around campus for a couple of years. Gunslinger is kind of a nickname you give to an up-and-coming rookie. You know what I'm saying? Gunslinger is a young nickname. And let's face it, Jalen Milroe is going into year 4 now, and he's not a young guy. So, I mean, to really face it, he's got a lot of work to do, especially in the pre-snap reads and actually going through his progressions. Because, I mean, we left a lot of points on the table.
Well, it's kind of, you got a new coach coming in. You got some young studs sitting there hungry.
Exactly.
This is Alabama. It's that
iron don't sharpen iron unless you give it a chance, and they're gonna give it a chance at Bama. That's what we do.
And we won't championships. It's kind of shit or get off the pot time. Let's go.
I'm gonna name some names. You tell me if they're a gunslinger or not. All right, Ty Simpson. Is he a gunslinger or not?
From the short snippet I've seen, yes.
I'm going to give you some names. You tell me if they are a gunslinger or not. Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Dylan Lonergan.
Yeah, for sure.
Julian Sand.
Yeah.
So, Arch Manning. Guys like that. Quinn Ewers. Is he a gunslinger?
Yeah, but you said, but see, you said a name in there that I kind of hold a little bit of relevance to, because you said gunslinger. I look at gunslingers that wanting to go compete against other gunslingers. So if a quarterback ain't going to compete against other top quarterbacks, is that really a gunslinger then?
Drake May from Michigan, from North Carolina. Caleb Williams,
Yeah, from what I've seen, yeah.
Caleb Williams, USC.
Yeah.
Cry baby.
That's a yeah. I can't. Oh, that guy. Don't get me started. Don't get me started on him.
We could have a whole show on do you put your draft on a dude that crawled up into his mama's arms and cried on national TV?
No, the guy said that the guy said if the Bears keep the number 1 pick, he's not coming out. Like they literally said that today. It came across today.
He's going John Elway, make more money in college. At $5, Bryce's height allowed him to fill those low snaps a lot easier. 5'10" versus 6'2".
Actually, if you look at most of the bad snaps, they were high and to the right.
All right, guys.
Snaps were off to the right, to the left, and they were high.
Man, we cut off work, shut down the world because Alabama's more important than work, right?
Right.
Alabama football. Alabama football.
Alabama
football is work. Hey, man. Been a great show. I want to go around and kind of get some final thoughts on what is a day that we won't soon forget, man. It's the passing of the torch from the GOAT to the next guy, Kalen DeBoer. I want to get some last thoughts. I'll go in the circle. I'll start with Lou and then go to CC, go to Chris, and we'll finish it up. And then we'll do some advertising for next week's show and all that good stuff and get on out and let everybody enjoy their weekend.
I'm just I'm happy right now. I'm really happy, and I'm more so just looking forward to what happens next in the Alabama process. What offensive moves are made, the offensive coordinator, what happens with Tommy Rees, wide receivers. But the important thing is, Bama Nation, we got this done. It was quickly. We got an up-and-coming guy. He's hot. He knows how to win, and he can, most importantly, bring our players to the next level in their progression. And that's what should matter, guys.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And I would say, I just can't thank Coach Saban enough. He stuck with Alabama, 17 years, that's a long time. And all the pressure, everything that, even people, it got to a point where people were actually calling for him to consider, leaving, which I know there was a lot of emotion, but I just want to say Coach Saban, he's done above and beyond an incredible job. And on top of that, for him to have the courage to have that sit down with Reese Davis and just be vulnerable enough to tell the world, hey, I'm getting older. I can't do what I used to do. I think that it speaks volumes. I think that, he's trying to kind of level set expectations as well and kind of remove some of that responsibility, because the fact that I think he's still going to be the heartbeat of Tuscaloosa, and so I think that we have so much to look forward to. I think that, of course, that kind of took everyone by surprise. But at the same time, it's not the end of a dynasty. It's the beginning of a new era. And I think that we have a lot to look forward to. I think that the guys who, have entered the portal based off of emotion, I get it. I understand. But at the same time, just remember that this is still a business. Your goal is still to get to the NFL, so you can't cry about Coach Saban retiring, because even if you go to another school, he ain't going to be there. So either way, that can't be the basis of leaving. It can't be, okay, this school is paying me $1 million or whatever. Get back to the basics and keep the main thing. Y'all say that this is a brotherhood, right? You don't leave your brothers hanging like that. So I just really hope that the players understand the sacrifice and the commitment that Coach Saban made. But then this hire that we just made with DeBoer, I think that was very strategic. I think it was almost like a checkmate move within the same week that both Alabama and Washington lost to Michigan, right? The same week that Michigan should be celebrating. This is definitely a checkmate move when you talk about people playing chess versus checkers. So I'm excited. I think we have a lot to look forward to. The off season is going to be awesome for all the guys. A-Day is going to be something to catch. Just watch what I say. A-Day is going to be epic, I think.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Cici. Great stuff. My message is to the players, current players. Man, either crap or get off the pot. Like you're either going to be a team player or you're going to be for yourself. So if you don't want to be a part of this brotherhood, the Bama Sci-Fi brotherhood, just find somewhere else to play, because still, I played 20 years ago. We still to this day, I take pride in every team that steps on the field. I feel like it reflects me and all those that have come before me. So it's from the first person on the roster to the 120th person on the roster. It's like buy in, give Coach DeBoer a chance, because the guy knows what he's doing. He's a winner. He's been a winner everywhere he's gone, and Greg Byrne and Coach Saban, like made this decision. This is pretty much who they chose, who they felt was competent enough to take over the program. It's and it's like their styles are different. Their approach is kind of different between Coach Saban and Coach DeBoer. Coach DeBoer isn't as fiery as Coach Saban, but they both get results, get the same type of results. So, I mean, his resume speaks for itself. So, just trust the process. Like Coach Saban isn't going anywhere. He's going to be around for a while to kind of guide it in until Coach DeBoer has this thing in full swing. So, man, go through spring ball. Like, don't be so quick to hop in the portal. Everybody wants to run from adversity. Like, the first sign of adversity, you want to tuck your tail between your legs, or you want to see how much money you can get, how much nil you can get. Like, just play ball. All of that stuff will take care of itself. You ball out, the rest will take care of itself. Be for the team, not for yourself. And that's just, pretty much what all. Just wanted to say that to the players.
Yeah. Well, look, man, it's been a great show. Do y'all want to plug your socials before I give a few final thoughts?
Yeah.
Ask everybody. And look, man, if you don't miss any of the amazing content at the Bama Standard. We got a tribute show coming up. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in a second. But the way you don't ever miss any of this amazing content, we got shows coming up when Coach retired, live as soon as we got a new hiring. Hit that subscribe button right now, and anytime we're on, you will get a notification. So, look, man, I'm Daniel Petty with Week 0 Sports. I was the third string call-in on this day. Everybody's working, but we had to get it done. We had to talk Alabama football, so I'm honored to be here. But again, don't miss anything at this great network, the Bama Standard. Hit that subscribe button. I'm going to let Lucian pump his stuff, Ms. Shishi pump her stuff. Chris, give your stuff, and I'm going to give a quick out and pump what we got left with the Bama Standard, guys.
You on mute, Lou?
You on mute?
My bad. You can find me on Twitter at Rolush21. Also on Facebook and Instagram, Lucian Graves. You can find me on Tuesday nights, The Late Show, The Best Show, with my two guys on the other side of the screen, Mr. Petty and Mr. Chris James. On The Final Whistle, I can imagine we're going to be getting real deep into it, the possibilities and what Alabama's got in the future. Also, stay tuned. My show's going to be taking off here in the next couple weeks. And most importantly, it's still Road Daggum Tide. We'd all like to thank Nick Saban for this amazing journey. But most importantly, I want to say to the fans that this ride ain't over. Like Saban said, it's just getting started. So stay tuned.
Yep. And I'll promote my show, but I know that, those who are familiar with the Bama Standard Network, y'all are probably familiar with the show as well. So we have a sister channel called Crimson Dynasty, and we air every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the last few weeks, we've actually had Chris James' brother on as well, Dan. And now Dan, he is an entire character. I love the energy that he brings. He's very knowledgeable. We call him the lead recruiting analyst for a reason, because he knows his stuff. And so we typically like to have different guests on, even some former players. Now, during the season, I actually like to do a really deep analysis on our opponents. And so I kind of hate that we're not doing that right now, but we still have a lot to talk about. And of course, with the new hire, and I believe, additional hires to come, we're going to have more to break down and analyze. So be sure to catch us here Wednesday nights, like I mentioned, Bama Standard Network, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And as far as social media, you can find me on Instagram at beauty_of_intelligence. So roll tide, Lucas, roll tide till we die.
That's right. That's right.
Chris?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr. I post all my statuses are pretty much about football, about sports and whatnot, whatever's going on in the sports world. You can find me on Twitter at Coach Chris James. I just put something up about DeBoer. Y'all come and follow me on Twitter. I need some more followers. On Instagram, I couldn't even tell you my Instagram name. It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. Maybe CKJ Senior 32. That may be it. I think so. And you can find me on Tuesday nights right here with the best cast on the net with my guy up top, Petty, my guy in the corner, Lou, Matt Cadell, Justin Riley, Coach, my brother Dan James, and who else is on there? There's so many of us.
Matt, there's a
Ty.
Ty. We got a whole crew.
Ty Hayes, we got a crew, man. And I mean, when I tell you, if you want to be entertained, like come on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, for we get down and rowdy, man. We get rowdy. And then right before that, we come on right after the Bama Standard that airs at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and then like on Wednesday nights you have CC's show, Crimson Dynasty, which is awesome. Like y'all, she's probably one of the most knowledgeable females when it comes. Like, don't try it, y'all. Like y'all see that face? And
she knows her stuff. Not just a pretty face.
Don't try it, because ask her what happened to that LSU fan that tried her. it was oh my God, I felt bad for the kid.
Well,
no, I didn't. I loved it.
I know you did.
Smell like burnt corn dog when it was
Ain't
done.
nobody felt bad for that kid.
burnt
He got
corn dog
roasted. It smelled like an early 4th of July.
I didn't feel bad for him.
No.
It was hard. It was funny. And then you have T's take with George T that comes on, and his son that comes on afterwards. So man, I mean, we have a just you can ride. This stuff you can ride to. You can ride to, man, like on Tuesday night and Wednesday nights, and or just have it on your TV. You can shoot off your TV and just listen to us. I mean, it's a lot of good stuff we give you, a lot of good stuff. But I just enjoy it, man. This is the best network, the Bama Standard Network. And thank you, Petty. You're the man. He's the man behind the thing. He, Justin, and Michael, like they are. Yeah,
Michael's working behind the scenes. I thought we were going to get him live today, but unfortunately, he stayed behind the scenes. And again,
Michael's like Batman.
Michael's the glue that holds all this together that you don't see. And I'd want to thank Mike and Chris. I'll go with that. I'm Daniel Petty. I'm with weekzerosports.com. Check us out, man. We got a podcast. We're going to pop another one probably tomorrow morning with my guy Michael. Me and Michael are with Workspace Solutions. Michael's the owner of the company, and we're very fortunate and blessed to be the main sponsor of the Bama Standard. Check us out at workspacepros.com, man. We're your digital online presence. We help your business grow. Your needs in marketing, web design, SEO, content writing, anything that can help your business grow online. We're the guys that can help you do it. And again, like we talk about the Bama Standard, we got the Workspace Standard, and it's excellence, and it goes in line with Alabama, and we couldn't be more thankful to be in line with such a great crew. And with that said, man, like Chris said, CC show, George Teague, man, what a freaking legend, as a show on this network. Hit the subscribe button right now. You are missing out if not. I see there's still a lot of people on here. Hit that subscribe. Also hit that like button because it pumps us up in there. And again, check us all out. You got all our socials on weekzerosports.com. I'm also at Petty_Daniel on the Twitter, X, whatever, Magruder. Check me out. I'm not as active as these guys. They're good. But, man, Nick Saban, thank you, man. I got it. It's been – we got to hear about Barry and not see it, and then we got to see it. So thank you for showing us what we got told about and then taking it to the next level. We got to be there for that. It's a special time in Alabama football, but that don't mean the next chapter can't be special either, and we're here for it. Coach DeBoer, roll freaking Tide. And, man, like you said, I'm going to be with these guys next Tuesday night and have my show on Week Zero. We'll see you next time, man. Roll Tide, roll.
Roll Tide, y'all.
Pump our website.
Oh, the Bama Standard? Yeah. Go to the BamaStandard.com. We got articles from Chris. We got articles from Lucian. We got more coming from them that we're going to get pumped. Look, guys, we're just getting started. The offseason don't mean it's over, especially with a new coach. Man, we're just getting We're just getting started. Check us out. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, y'all. Roll Tide.